Well, after months of delay, Bitcoin will finally close its IPO in preparation for listing. The Melbourne-based company is the first cryptocurrency miner in the world to offer shares through an initial public offering, which opened on December 24. It is offering investors 100 million shares at 20 cents each to raise $20 million in that IPO. And the company has revised its prospectus 3 times on orders from the Australian Securities and Investment Commission. For more, I'm joined by Chief Executive SAMLEE. Sam, thanks so much for joining us. We do appreciate it. You refer to yourself as a Bitcoin miner. What exactly is that?
That's right, Kate. Bitcoin mining is similar to how the internet operates with internet backbone providers. We provide the transactional backbones of the Bitcoin network by enabling transactions to be verified. And as an outcome of that service, we are rewarded with newly minted Bitcoins.
And what is a Bitcoin currently worth?
It's worth, I think, around 600 Australian dollars, but it is a volatile currency, just like anything new, so please don't quote me on it.
So your profits are in Bitcoin?
That's correct. We receive Bitcoins through the network by providing the algorithmic service of mining, and off the back of that, we're able to liquidate Bitcoins into any major currency.
Okay, so that's how you'll pay shareholders out and whatnot when the time comes. You will convert those Bitcoins into Australian dollars.
That's correct, Kate.
So you're pretty exposed to fluctuations in the Bitcoin price then?
Yes, to a certain degree, but so is any other mining company that is, for instance, exposed to the price of any commodity such as oil, coal or gas.
I guess Bitcoin, the concern there is that it's not a regulated industry. It hasn't been as tried and tested as other currencies.
Well, how did you want to, for instance, regulate a commodity such as gold? I think Bitcoin has its unique value proposition by being something that is not as heavily regulated, because not everybody wants to hold on to fiat currencies, and we can demonstrate that by people who, for instance, are gold bugs and hide gold under their bed.
Are you currently running at a loss?
No, 2015 financial year turned a profit for us, and we believe that ongoingly Bitcoin mining, securing the network, will generate returns in Bitcoin. And because our profits and our revenue is tied to the value of Bitcoin, the investment in our company means that the investors are bull on the valuation of Bitcoin moving forward.
Who is investing in your company? I know right back at the beginning you made a comment about Malcolm Turnbull possibly buying in, and I think you retracted that later. Who are your key investors?
Our key investors are mostly new investors to the ASX, because, as you could understand, Bitcoin isn't a traditional investment, and it is very exciting to build up from a blank sheet a brand new IPO and a brand new support base of investors who truly believe in the fundamental paradigm shift that Bitcoin can bring.
You initially launched the prospectus 6 months ago. Why has it taken so long to get up and running? Is it because it's something we're not used to and regulators aren't used to?
I believe it is something very new, and it's an education process at the end of the day. So once we're able to, for instance, bring in the necessary experts to validate our business model, it helps bring comfort to, for instance, for regulators, the ASX, in what we do, and therefore we've been allowed to proceed.
There have been claims of misstatements about the company's profitability as well. Where did these come from?
Well, these came from the media. We have been, I believe, honest and forefront, and if there has been misstatements by the company, we've since dealt with them accordingly through retractions.
There's also been a couple of stop orders issued by the Australian Securities and Investment Commission since you first applied for that listing in June. What were these about?
So these stop orders were primarily to better understand the underlying business model of our company. Bitcoin mining, as you can see, is very left of field when it comes to traditional investment portfolios. And ASIC has the right intentions in mind to make sure that mum and dad investors understand what they are putting money into. And we have collaborated with ASIC to make sure that happens.
So it's fair to say your investor base and the investors you're trying to attract aren't your usual mum and dad investors. You're going for a market that understands what Bitcoin is and, as you say, might be new to the ASX. They're interested in investing there because of Bitcoin.
Yes, and we believe as an ASX-listed company, which is what we're gunning towards, will bring legitimacy, transparency, and accountability to the Bitcoin industry as a whole.
Bitcoin is the best known of these kind of currencies, but there are lots of others. Have any others impressed you?
They each have their merits. We believe that Bitcoin, having the first mover advantage, has built together a very strong network effect. That's why the entire internet runs on TCP/IP, because it was the first one to be adopted by the global majority. So for any other currencies to exist, they need to solve a fundamental problem that Bitcoin doesn't. And Bitcoin so far has been proven to be very strong, and hence its value.
You have, from what I understand, big computing labs over in China. Is that right? And as computing costs come down, will that bring your costs down, or will it start to perhaps take away from margins as the whole industry works on a different dynamic?
Yes, we believe that with the maturing of the industry, there will be more competitors, and more competitors means that our profitability will be impacted. But don't forget that because as a listed company, we have the transparency required to access capital from the global financial system much more easily. So hopefully with that advantage in mind and the knowledgeable support staff and leadership team behind me, we should be able to stay competitive amongst our competitors.
All right, SAMLEE, thanks very much. Just remind us, when are you listing?
We are listing on the 2nd of February with the close date of the 25th of Jan.
Okay, great. Thanks very much for joining us. Appreciate it. We'll be watching.
Okay, thank you, Kate.
SAMLEE from Bitcoin there. Across Australia, this is Trading Day. Around the world, you're watching Australia Channel. When we come back, we'll take a look at today's trade with Angus Nicholson from IG.